been about a year since I built out my current studio setup as well as my desktop workstation after working on a laptop for so many years. I thought it would be fun to update you with some of the changes I've made. Definitely not a complete overhaul if you watched last year's video, but I've made some really nice refinements that I thought would make for a great video to share with all of you. Getting into the workstation uses, I mainly edit videos for the YouTube channel as well as clients for my videography business, but in addition to just video editing, I've also been getting more and more into music production, and this has become my gaming station as well for my Xbox Series X. So it needs to serve all three purposes, which has had some challenges to be honest, but I think I've got a setup that is working really well for all three purposes. Starting off with the brain of this mega desk, I am still using my 2018 MacBook Pro. This thing is dated and definitely past its prime and has just been slow and slogging for me. I have plans to upgrade to one of the new Mac Studios. I had wanted to build out a Mac Ultra, but my build was like $7,000 and I just don't have the cash for it right now. So I'm debating if I should go with an M1 Max or just hold out and get the Ultra in a little while longer once I can justify the expense. But for now, still have the 2018 MacBook Pro running everything. For my desk, I've still been using the Flexispot Pro E5 standing desk, and I do want to take a minute to thank Flexispot because they're actually sponsoring this week's video and the desk tour update. I've had two Flexispot desks I've been using for over a year now, the one that you see in front of me for all of my videos filming, as well as my main workstation desk. They're both that E5 Pro series. I'm still so impressed with the quality for the prices that they're charging. They are a great value, especially when you compare it to a lot of the competition. I have a lot of long editing and computer sessions, and it's really nice to be able to stand up and sit down and kind of go back and forth and keep your body moving instead of sitting in, bad posture positions for 12, 14 hours a day sometimes if I'm on a tight deadline. With the E5 models, you have a huge range in height variance, definitely more than enough for the shortest or tallest person I could possibly imagine. You have 3 different presets as well, so if you're sharing the desk with someone, you can each have your standing presets. For me, I like having a preset for sitting and a preset for standing, so I don't need to worry about fiddling with it every single time I want to switch. Just one button, nice and easy, goes up smooth. The motors are more than strong enough to hold up all of the stuff I have on my desk. Flexispot's having a Tech Day special next week from September 7th through 9th with up to $200 off on their desks. Be sure to check the link in the description below. It's definitely their best sale until Black Friday around November, so if you're thinking about getting one, definitely jump on it while you can get the good discount. Links will be in the description. Huge thanks to Flexispot for supporting the channel and sponsoring this week's video. A few of you have already commented and caught these in the background of my last video, but I have actually moved to a triple monitor setup that I've just been absolutely in love with. It's been really great for video editing. I can have Final Cut Pro set up on 2 of the monitors, and then I can use a third monitor for reference and information. It's also been really great for gaming. I play a lot of big single player RPGs, so I'm constantly looking stuff up. I don't have to do it on my phone anymore. I have access to my computer while I'm still using my main monitor for my Series X. The 2 new monitors for my setup are the LG Dual Up displays. LG actually reached out and offered to send these out for me to test and try and share my thoughts with all of you. The 2 Dual Ups are 28-inch monitors, but they're actually 2560 by 2880, so it's a 16 by 18 aspect ratio. Super interesting, and it looks a little odd on first impressions, but the practicality of that aspect ratio has been excellent. You're essentially using 2 1440p monitors stacked on top of each other. Also, the colors are much more accurate than I anticipated for a monitor at this price point. You have full 100% sRGB coverage, and then I calibrated them myself a few days ago and got 94% for DCI-P3 color. They're actually a lot more accurate than the 32-inch 4K monitor that I bought last year, and I found that to be more than adequate for my level of video production. The Dual Ups don't come with traditional monitor arms. They actually use the LG Ergo stand, which has been really nice. It looks great and adds a ton of extra functionality compared to a regular stand. You have a pretty big range in height and tilt adjustment, and then you also can turn it 90 degrees. One thing I would like to see in a potential future update is the ability to turn it a full 180 degrees depending on which side you prefer that chin on if you want to run it horizontal. One other unique feature that's worth mentioning on the dual up monitors, you can actually run 2 inputs simultaneously with the 2 stacked 1440p monitor aspect ratios. So if you wanted to plug in a Roku stick or a gaming console, you can actually have your computer on one panel, and right below it you can have, gaming console, Roku, something like that. So really great if you do want to rock a one monitor setup and still be able to game and have your computer access at the same time. Definitely really useful for a lot of people. My triple monitor setup, it hasn't been something I've needed to utilize, but I have debated hooking up some of my older game consoles to run on the smaller displays next to my main 32-inch monitor that I use for gaming. And speaking of that monitor, it's the LG 32UN650W. It's a 32-inch 4K 60Hz monitor, so if you're really into competitive gaming or something and need that higher refresh rate, probably wouldn't be for you, but I never really game above 60 frames per second, so it's been more than adequate for me. It's a great budget monitor. I've been really happy with it. The color accuracy is not as good as the dual ups though, so I've been debating switching some things up, but overall I've been really happy with that, and I really like having that full big 4K display for gaming most of all. Moving on to peripherals, I have made the switch to mechanical keyboards. I've been using the Vissel's V84 mechanical keyboard for several months now, maybe even a little bit longer at this point. I've been really happy and impressed with this. It's a $100 mechanical keyboard. It has Bluetooth, or you can run it wired if you prefer. The keys are hot swappable, and I decided to go with the blue switches. Really nice and clicky and satisfying. Has full RGB backlighting as well. I usually run it with the backlights off just to save and extend the battery. The only gripes I've really had with it is the battery life I wish was a little bit longer. I feel like they could have fit a little bit more battery capacity in there. It's not so short, it's a huge problem, but I got spoiled with my Magic Keyboard that would last months and months and months without a recharge. And then I also do still miss my number pad a bit. For my mouse, I have the MX Master 3. After a year of using it, I still absolutely love it and have zero complaints with it. I also run the Magic Trackpad on the left side of the keyboard. I really love having both simultaneously, just because I was a laptop user exclusively for over a decade, so I got so used to having all of the gestures. I'm also left-handed, so that might play a factor in this, but I really like being able to have that trackpad and still navigate with the trackpad or navigate with the mouse. Like I mentioned in the start of the video, I've been getting more and more into music production. I finally got myself a MIDI keyboard after debating it for a couple of years. I got the Akai MPK Mini Mark III, and I have been thoroughly impressed with it for its price point. It's definitely an entry-level MIDI keyboard. You're not going to get the really satisfying weight of the keys like some of the higher end ones, but if you're just getting into it like I am, this has been more than adequate enough, and the keys definitely aren't bad. They're just not like super weighty, expensive keys like you might expect on ones that cost, 4, 5, 6 times the price. But I've been really happy with it. I've had a ton of fun messing around. After being in a band for most of my life and then kind of quitting music to do YouTube, to be honest, it's been great getting back into music again. And the last of the peripherals, I have the Xbox Series X controller. I was finally able to snag a Series X last November, and it's been great having this set up here in my desk. I don't need to bother my wife if she's sleeping or wants to watch TV in the living room, and I just love having really great speakers and just the close proximity setup to be able to game at my desk. I was always a couch gamer before this and always a console gamer for the most part. I have the Series X running from the console that sits next to my desk that you can usually see in the background of the videos. My audio setup is one of the few categories that hasn't changed, but to be honest, it wasn't for a lack of trying. I was having some issues placing my speakers as I added in the new monitors, and I had thought about getting a little, PC soundbar to add in the center to put above the center monitor. I thought that would be a really good, suitable replacement and would clear up some of the space on the desk to fit the extra monitors. I tried the Panasonic Sound Slayer, got that, and it was terrible. It's almost triple the price of my speakers and just sounded so mediocre. You would expect it to be like a $40 Bluetooth speaker. I can't not recommend that thing enough, and from what I've heard about most of the other PC soundbar alternatives, they are also pretty mediocre based on some reviews I saw on Linus Tech Tips for that Razer one that came out. I think it was Razer, but Anyway, I tried that. I immediately returned it because it was terrible, went back to my normal setup. I'm currently running my speakers and headphones into an amp DAC combo. It's the JDS Labs Element 2. I think they did recently come out with the Element 3. I'm not sure what the differences are, but I love my Element 2. The big knob on the top is just so satisfying to use. It also just looks really nice on the top of my desk, something that needs to be out and prominent. The aesthetics do matter to me, so say what you will about that, but I've been really happy with it. The sound quality out of it's great. It's been able to drive my headphones well. And for headphones, I'm still using the Sennheiser HD6XX. It's the drop.com version of the HD 650s at, a fraction of the price of the 650s. They are a little on the warm side for being monitor headphones because it's not a completely flat signature, but I found them to be a lot more pleasant and a lot more flat than, the Audio-Technica ATH M50s, which are really popular. Just been really happy and impressed with those headphones. And moving on to the speakers, I have the PreSonus Aris 3.5s. These are $100 speakers for the pair, and after trying the alternatives that I talked about, these really sound excellent for the pricing. That SoundSlayer was $270. These are $100 and completely blew them out of the water in terms of sound quality. Moving into some of the other accessories, I do use a Thunderbolt dock. It's the CalDigit TS3 Plus. Absolutely love this thing. It has a ton of bandwidth and has served me really well. I have it mounted underneath my desk with some 3D printed mounts I found from someone on Amazon. I'm still using a few accessories from GroveMade. I love that company. They're based in Portland here with me, so it's always great to work with, companies that are really close by. I've been using their medium-sized desk shelf, just excellent quality with everything that they do. I continue to be just so impressed with them as a company. The design is excellent. The quality is excellent. They're making stuff that's built to last a lifetime. So check them out if you're looking to spruce up the aesthetics of your desk. I've also been using their desk mat. I have the medium size and the wool charcoal felt. I'm just a big fan of those nice textures, so that wool texture just looks beautiful against a walnut desk. I've also upgraded my wireless charging station. I've been using the Nomad base station hub. It has two magnetic MagSafe spots on it, so I'm able to charge my phone and my AirPods simultaneously. It looks beautiful. It charges at 10 watts, which is a little bit faster than a lot of the third-party, 7.5 watt chargers, and it fits so perfectly into my desk shelf. You have little charging indicator lights on the front side of it, so because I have it in this narrow shelf, it's just really nice to be able to plop it in. It locks in with the MagSafe, and then the light comes on so it's charging. You don't need to fiddle with the wireless charging spot to find just the perfect area. It takes care of that and kind of removes so many annoying little barriers. In the desk shelf as well, I keep the GroveMade desk tray. I just keep a few pens. I keep cables for both of the keyboards, a few little adapters, some mints, just some really basic stuff. It's nice to have those quick access items without cluttering up your desk. I've also still been using and loving my Herman Miller Aeron chair. I bought it used at an incredibly steep discount and just can't recommend it enough if you have any sort of back problems. I have scoliosis and I'm constantly uncomfortable and fidgety in a lot of different seats. That thing's really comfortable and it's really easy to repair if anything breaks on it. So it's a chair that's built to last a lifetime if that buy it for life mentality is for you. I also have a little cloth footrest underneath my desk. I forgot the brand name off the top of my head, but that was one of the wisest purchases I made when I was redoing the setup last year. It makes everything so much more comfortable and ergonomic when you're working. It's just really important to take care of your back and stay as comfortable as possible. It just really helps the whole creative process and work process to get your work done quickly and efficiently and comfortably. Next up, I want to talk about storage. After years and years of editing 4K videos, my storage needs are continuously growing and expanding. I have a 2-bay hard drive enclosure from a brand called Yadamaster. I found them on Amazon. After a full year, I've had any issues with it. It's USB-C, and inside I have two 16 terabyte Seagate Exos drives for a total of 32 terabytes. I have all of that backed up to Backblaze. I unfortunately don't have any on-site backup. That's something I'm hoping to integrate as my budget allows in the future, but for now, I have everything on there, and then my main editing drive is a Samsung T5 SSD. Lighting is up next, and something that is very important for me. One, for the aesthetics, it's great to have nice lighting, but also just for bias lighting. I have the BenQ Screen Bar Plus at the top of my center monitor. It's been excellent, nice and bright. You have color temperature options, brightness options. Just adds a ton of great bias lighting. Looks really nice while it's doing it as well. And then I also have some Hue strip lights on the back of my monitor and on the back of my desk. Just add some nice ambiance, and again, a little bit more bias lighting to help reduce that eye strain. I've especially noticed the need for it when I added the extra monitors. It's very bright, so you want to make sure and counteract that so your eyes just aren't hurting. That's the main reason I wear glasses. My vision's okay, but I get really bad headaches and eye strain from extended computer use. But that wraps it up for the desk tour. Hopefully I didn't miss anything or bore you all to death with all of the details. I'm always looking to improve and optimize my own setup, as well as looking for cool and unique stuff to share with all of you. Huge thanks to all of you for watching this week's video. Let me know in the comments what your desk setup looks like, and I'll talk to you in the next one.